have a refresher course, and we're going to go through the scriptures. We're going to see if the law, statutes, and commandments have always been here in the earth, prior to us being in the wilderness, prior to us being in Israel. So let's go to Genesis chapter 1 and 1. Genesis 1 and 1. In the beginning, the Most High created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of the Most High moved upon the face of the waters. And the Most High said, "Let there be light," and let there be light, and there was light. And the Most High saw the light that it was good, and the Most High divided the light from the darkness. All right, let's go to Job chapter 38, verse 18. Job chapter 38, verse 18. Hast thou perceived the breadth of the earth? Declare it if thou knowest it all. Where is the way where light dwelleth? And as for darkness, where is the place thereof? That thou shouldst take it to the bound thereof, and that thou shouldst know the pass to the house thereof. So when he says take it to the bounds, to have a boundary is a law. All boundaries are set by laws. The oceans, being able to wash upon the shore, it only goes so far. It only goes so far because it is a law. It is a commandment. It was commanded to stop at a boundary. So commandments were here a long time ago. So let's go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 1. And it reads, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day the Most High ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And the Most High blessed the seventh day and sanctified it." He made this day holy, because that in it he had rested from all his work which the Most High created and made. Then he said, "These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, in the day that the Most High, thy power, made the earth and the heavens." So what did he bring first on the earth? Commandments. What was the command? What did he make holy? The seventh day of what? Of the week. The seventh day. Drop down to verse 7. It says, "And the Most High, thy power, formed a man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul." All right, so what did he create? He created mankind, right? Let's go to Genesis chapter 5, verse 1. Genesis chapter 5, verse 1. It reads, "This is the book of the generations of Adam." So now he's telling you what the generations are. He's telling you that it began with Adam. And he's also saying, in the day that the Most High created man, in the likeness of the Most High made he him. So the Most High has rules. If he made man in his image, then man has rules. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day when they were created. All right, so he created mankind, and mankind had laws. Let's double check this. Let's go to Genesis chapter 3. Genesis chapter 3, verse 17. And it reads, "And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life." So who did he listen to? Who did Adam listen to? He listened to his wife. Who did Adam receive word from? Who did he receive the command from? From the Most High. He created mankind to what? Multiply. Go back to Genesis 5 and 3. "And Adam lived 130 years, and begot a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth." All right, so Adam had another generation. These generations have laws to follow. And when they don't follow laws, the Most High will bring destruction upon those who don't keep his laws. Let's go to Genesis chapter 6, verse 4. And it reads, "There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of the Most High came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And the Most High saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." So why was man's heart evil? Because it went against what? There had to be some kind of laws in place that went against the Most High. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 17. When you go against the Most High, you are wicked. Jeremiah chapter 17, and let's go to verse 9. Jeremiah 17, verse 9. And it reads, "The heart," because it said in Genesis chapter 6 that man's heart was wicked. So Jeremiah 17 and 9 says, "The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it?" You see that? Who can know it? So what is wrong with mankind? What is wrong with their hearts? They're wicked. "I, the Most High, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways, and according to the fruit of his doings." Jump up to verse 1. Jeremiah 17, verse 1. "The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron, and with the point of a diamond." Diamond is sharp, sharper than concrete. "It is graven upon the table of their heart." Whose heart? Judah's heart. "And upon the horns of your altars." Right? So it's telling you right there that man had always transgressed what? God's commandments, God's laws. The Most High, I'll say the Most High for y'all in the truth. Man's heart has always transgressed against the Most High's heart. So what did Abraham do? He kept laws. He kept commandments. He kept statutes. So why is there commandments, statutes, and laws in the Torah before Exodus, before Numbers, and Leviticus, and Deuteronomy? It's here. So we always had commandments, statutes, and laws. Even now, the commandments, statutes, and laws still exist. This is before Israel became a nation. Let's go to Exodus chapter 15. So if you're saying that the laws are done away with, how did Abraham even manage to deal with the people of the lands in the strange lands? He had laws. He was a city within himself. It's just like Melchizedek. Melchizedek was a man of the Most High. He was a city within himself. Now we hear about Jerusalem, because he said he came from Salem, land of peace. What is peace? The Most High's laws. Exodus chapter 15, verse 26. Let's start at 25. Exodus 15, verse 25. "And he cried," this is Moses, when the children of Israel were in the wilderness and they wanted to find some water. Moses took a tree and threw it in the water, and it was a miracle. It caused the water to erase the bacteria and viruses from the water and made it sweet and clear to be drink. So it says, "And he cried unto the Most High, and the Most High showed him a tree, which when he had cast it into waters, the waters were made sweet. There he made," what? "A statute and an ordinance. And there he proved them." So the Most High made a statute and an ordinance there. What kind of ordinance did he establish? That he changed the water to be drinkable. That's an ordinance. He could change any water to be drinkable. That's why you go to some hunting stores and they got tablets. They have things where you could purify water. That's an ordinance in the Most High's kingdom. That's a statute in the Most High's kingdom. You'll always be able to purify bad water, but using another form. Verse 26. and said, If thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Most High thy power, there's that voice again, and will do that which is right in his sight, and will give ear to his commandments, and keep all his statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians. For I am the Most High thy power that healeth thee. Let's talk about commandments, laws, statutes, ordinances. What are they? What is the commandments? You go to Exodus 20. Exodus 20, the 10 commandments, which we all know, these are the most prolific and the highest degree of law taken out of the 613 laws. And what are they? Exodus chapter 21, and the Most High spoke all these words, saying, I am the power, thy power, which I brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. He's telling us not to have any other gods. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I am the power. I am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto those thousands of them that love me and keep my what? Commandments. You will have and establish mercy when you what? Keep his commandments. So the commandments have always been here, man. You got to follow the commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Most High thy power in vain, for the Most High will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. All right, so he talks about his name, how jealous he is, not to utter any other names of any other gods. Then he tells you to keep his Sabbath day. Same thing we read in Genesis. So those were commandments that we received. And as you keep reading in here, it talks about other commandments. For example, when Adam was in the garden, what was his job with the animals? What was his job in the garden? To tend to the garden. To tend to the animals. Those are laws in themselves. To be kind to them. He couldn't be in the garden kicking animals and cursing them out. There were laws established in the garden. He was a fair garden keeper. What they did in the garden pleased the Most High until they went off. So commandments were here. Laws were here. Laws means a fair system of rule. Laws are mandatory. Statutes. What are statutes? Statutes are laws written that are arranged or voluntarily. What's voluntarily? Nazarite vow. That's a voluntary oath, a voluntary vow. If you choose to do it, you got to stick to it. But if you break it, repent and go back to normal. It's all about sincerity. It's all about honesty when it comes to the Most High. So we know what the 10 Commandments are. We read it here in Exodus chapter 20. But what are the laws? Because the laws and the commandments are different. Like I said, look at that. If you're looking at an umbrella, put the 10 Commandments on top of the umbrella. Now list the 613 laws underneath the umbrella. And with the 613 laws, each law, if you bullet point them by 1, 2, 3, all the way down, put a equal sign after each title of the 613 laws, and then the breakdown. That would be the statutes. And then another equal sign on the right side of the statutes, and that would be broken down into ordinances, just so you have a picture idea. So you got the laws. I'm going to break this down. Laws, you have what? 5 laws, 5 sets of laws out of the 613 laws. And they're governed and broken down by ceremonial, that's 1. 2, judgments. 3, dietary. 4, sacrificial. 5, moral and civil. Now some say, well, judgment law is not here. That's been done away with. It is. It has been done away with to a certain degree, but it's still here. All these laws are still here. Even the sacrifices, even though we know that Mashiach Yahushua died for our sins and the sacrificial ordinances are gone. But the sacrifices are still here. Let me give you an example of judgment. Let's go to Psalms. Is it Psalms or Proverbs? Proverbs chapter 6, verse 29. And it reads, So he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Shall not be innocent. When you read in the Apocrypha, the book of Susanna, it's all about this. 2 judges were lusting after Susanna, who was a married woman. So he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her, shall not be innocent. That's a form of a judgment law, right? Men do not despise a thief, if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman, the scripture says lack of understanding. That means doing stupid stuff. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. You could lose everything. You could even lose your life. Telling me that's not a form of judgment? A wound and dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man. Therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. And he will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. So the jealousy is the rage of a man. That's the spirit. That's a spirit of what? A spirit of judgment. And you see that in the earth all the time. You see people getting killed for committing adultery. You see guys getting beat down in the streets for committing adultery. That's a form of judgment. You can say all you want. The news is not going to report it all. It's just going to say someone got killed. Somebody else killed them. But you never know the full story. Could be a form of adultery. Scriptures tell you that it's the spirit of jealousy. So tell me judgmental laws are gone away with. Tell a pastor that if he says the laws are gone. Say if your wife commits adultery, what about that? So those 5 are still here. Then you have the statutes. The statutes is a law written under the law. Like I said, equals, right? 613 law equals this. It's a law written under the law. So a king doesn't have, for example, a king doesn't have absolute power unless he includes the father. If he doesn't include the father, it don't mean jack diddly squat. Think about Christ. The Most High Yahweh is not going to let Yahushua rule without his consent. He has to get the Most High's consent before he does anything. Christ cannot rule unless the Father says so. And if any king gets out of line on this earth, the Most High steps in. There's no monarchy. But it's basically, when you look at statutes, it's basically guidelines for the laws. In other words, this allows us to have kingdoms within kingdoms under the king, like a bishop. If Yahushua comes down right now, he's going to have kingdoms established all over the earth. In whose name? In the Father's name, Yahweh. For example, statutory. So we say statutes is where you get statutory from, like statutory rape. Statutory rape encompass all the states of the United States. Statutory rape is when a man lays with a young woman under the age of 18. That's considered statutory rape. Someone having sex with a minor under 18, statutory rape. Child molesting, molestation, or unlawful sex with a minor, statutory rape. Now, some states have changed the ordinances saying 16 and under is statutory rape. And if a child is over the age of 16, they can get married. You look at Aaliyah and R. Kelly. Aaliyah emancipated herself from her parents, and she was married to R. Kelly at the age of what? 16 and a half. That's an ordinance. Because the federal law, which is the statutory, says 18. So, speaking of ordinances are like local laws. It's like a religious practice in certain churches, not all churches. For example, when you saw Farrakhan and Malcolm X in the FOI, you still had other Muslim congregations in different cities. Like here in the Bay Area, you had Yusuf Bey. He didn't even deal with Farrakhan in the FOI and Malcolm X. He had his own clergy. So that's a whole other congregation. They're dealing with ordinances. See? It's not the statutory law that goes all out. They're different, if that makes sense to you. For example, the Catholic Church, they do things that the Christian churches don't do. Like put ash on their forehead. They do the Last Supper communion. Christian Baptist Church do baptisms. Those are ordinances. Those are examples. And basically, they're trying to earn the Most High's favor with that. We all know that you have to change within. People just want to try to do acts of obedience in response to the Most High's grace. That's all they're trying to do. But blotting out the ordinances is what Yahushua did. So there wouldn't be no difference. So you can say that you're special. It's the same across the board. That's why we have commandments, laws, statutes. We have ordinances for all the other laws except for what? Sacrificial and judgmental. Colossians chapter 2, verse 13. Let's read this. Colossians 2 and 13. And you being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh hath he quickened together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses, blotting out the handwriting of what? Ordinances that was against us. What was against us? Sacrificing a lamb, a she-goat, a he-goat, a turtle dove, right? No blemishes, male. So blotting out the handwriting of the ordinance that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to what? To the cross, to the tree. And having spoiled principalities and powers, he made a show of them openly, triumphing over them in it. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of a holy day, or the new moons, or the Sabbath day. Can you imagine if Yahushua had sinned? He would have to go to the priest and take a cow or something just so they could sacrifice it for his sins. He was flawless. He didn't even sin. That's why he was flawless, so he didn't fall under the category of the ordinances. You look at the statutory laws now. If the ordinances are done away with, the sacrifices, look at the Roman Empire. Who was ruling over the Israelites in their own land? It was the Romans. They were in the place of being God. They wanted to be the Most High. They wanted to rule over them in the statutory way. It's just like now, the United States rules over everybody else. You can't have a city within the United States which is strictly just what you want to do there. This is why the Most High sent Yahushua at the beginning of the Roman kingdom, because they tried to be like God. This is the reason why Yahushua is coming at the end of the Roman kingdom. We read that in Revelation chapter 1 and 6, where it reads, it says, and have made us kings and priests unto the Most High and his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever. Amen. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and everyone or every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him. Who pierced him? The Roman Empire. And all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, Amen. So just to give you a heads up, we are to keep commandments, statutes, and laws, just like our forefathers kept, even today. Matthew 5:17 tells us what? Matthew 5:17. Think not that I have come to destroy the law or the prophets. Commandments are in there too. Commandments ain't gone. I have not come to destroy, but to fulfill. What are people doing with the Sabbath day? Have they destroyed the ordinances of the Sabbath day? They sure have. They still cook and buy and sell on the Sabbath day, and it's not even the Sabbath that they do it on. They do it on the first day, not the last day, not the seventh day. The seventh day is Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. That's the Shabbat. And that's a commandment. All right, let's go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. Colossians chapter 3, verse 17, and it reads. I just wanted to touch on that. Colossians 3 and 17, and it reads. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem HaMashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Heavenly Father, and by him. Kind. So, again, this class is called Just Be Sincere and Honest in the Truth, so you can receive a blessing. Stop kidding yourself. Stop playing around. Stop thinking this is a joke. This is real deal Holyfield. This is serious. Go to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. Verse 7. We left off at 7. Remember the Sabbath day. We're going to start at verse 8. Exodus chapter 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the Sabbath day is the Sabbath of the Most High thy power. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Most High made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Most High blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. This is a serious commandment that we have to keep. Once you change your life to follow the creator of all things, which his name is Yahweh, don't pray to any other power ever again. But for a lot of y'all, don't pray to any other God to say God. There is no other gods. There's only one. That's Yahweh. Seek the kingdom of the Most High Yahweh. Make it to heaven in body and spirit. Follow his laws, statutes, and his commandments of the Old and New Testament, so we can all make it. What's the commandment of the New Testament? Matthew chapter 22, verse 36. Matthew chapter 22, verse 36. Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Yahushua said unto him, Thou shalt love the Most High thy power with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. The commandments are still here. And the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. See that? So we're supposed to keep the commandments. Plural. But the main ones is love the Most High and love your brother, which is a form of what? Charity. Charity is huge. That's what Yahushua, that's the new law that Yahushua brought. Charity. Let's go to 1 John 2 and 7. If you keep charity, then you know Yahushua. You have charity for your brother and sister, then you know Yahushua. If you don't, then you don't know Yahushua, and you don't know your brother. 1 John chapter 2, verse 7. 1 John 2 and 7. Brethren, I write no new commandment unto you. Nothing is new. He didn't bring nothing new. It's old, but he's refreshing your memory with it. It says, but an old commandment which ye had from the beginning. The old commandment is the word which ye have heard from the beginning. You see that? Nothing has changed. People want to make like it's changed, but it hasn't changed. Look at Jude. Go to the book of Jude. Let's go to Jude, chapter 1, verse 5. The book of Jude, chapter 1, verse 5. It reads, I will therefore put you in remembrance. Remembrance of what? The old commandments. Though you once knew this, how that the Most High, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believe not. See that? So we got to believe. Let's go back to 1 John. So let's go back, and it reads 1 John chapter 2, verse 8. Again, a new commandment I write unto you, which thing is true in him and in you, because the darkness is past, and the true light now shineth. What darkness? We were sacrificing in darkness. We were doing it just to be doing it. He that saith he is in the light and hateth his brother is in darkness even unto now. He that loveth his brother abideth in the light, and there is none occasion of stumbling in him. But he that hateth his brother is in darkness, and walketh in darkness, and knoweth not whither he goeth, because that darkness hath blinded his eyes. I write unto you, little children, talking about the people of Israel, because your sins are forgiven you for his name's sake, Yahweh's name's sake. I write unto you, fathers, because you have known him. Known who? Yahweh. That is from the beginning. I write unto you, young men, because you have overcame the wicked one. I write unto you, little children, because you have known the Father. I have written unto you, fathers, because you have known him. Known who? Yahweh. That is from the beginning. I have written unto you, young men, because you are strong, and the word of the Most High abideth in you, and ye have overcame the wicked one. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. See that? For all that is in the world, the lust of thy flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of the Father abideth forever. See that? And we're supposed to abide forever in his love. Joshua 1 and 8 all day. So we're supposed to do. So if you, brethren, are still having problems with what the new law is, let me help you again. Let me explain further. So 1 Corinthians chapter 13. 1 Corinthians 13 and 13. And now abide the faith, hope, and what? Charity. These three. But the greatest of these is charity. You got to give to one another. You got to show your brother right from wrong. That's charity. Show your brother how to get somewhere. Help him on the freeway. He need to get somewhere. Show him how to get there. Someone need directions? Take him the extra mile. Take him to the right place. That's what Yahushua is all about. That's love. All right, let's go to 1 Corinthians 14 and 1. Follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts, but rather that ye may prophesy. So what is following after charity? Prophesying. That's a form of charity too. Teaching brethren about Yahushua coming back. Teaching brethren about Yahushua being a salvation to Israel. A lot of brothers don't know that. Some brothers really don't know that Yahushua is coming back to redeem us. Matthew 1 and 21. Matthew 21. And she, who's the she, Mary, shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushai, for he shall save his people from their sins. See that? So why was Yahushua created? To save us from our sins. The Most High is right on. He is the Most High's right on. Let's take it to Sirach 35. Sirach 35 and 1. The book of Sirach, chapter 35, verse 1. He that keepeth the law bringeth offerings enough. So why would you say we don't have to keep the law no more? If you keep the law, you bring in offerings to the Most High. You don't have to take it to the pastors no more. You don't have to take it to the priest. He that taketh heed to the commandment offereth what? A peace offering. He that requiteth a good turn offereth fine flour. Meaning if you change and turn your feet to the laws, that's what it means. He that requiteth a good turn means a change, offering fine flour. And he that giveth alms, sacrifice of praise. When you give to your brethren, when you help your brother, that's a form of sacrifice. See, that's why I said sacrifice is not done away with. It's just the ordinances of going to a high priest. The Levites and the ordinances for sacrifice are not here. And ceremonial. The Levites are not there for the ceremonial either. Verse 3. To depart from wickedness is a thing pleasing to the Most High, and to forsake unrighteousness is appropriation. Let's read verse 4. Thou shalt not appear empty before the Most High. Thou shalt not appear empty. Do you know what empty means? You have no works stored up. No works stored up of keeping his laws and giving to others in charity and alms, helping them by providing a service. That's what you have to learn how to do. Matthew 13 goes into that. It's the oil. Sirach 35, verse 10. Sirach 35, verse 10. Give unto the Most High according as he hath enriched you, and as thou hast gotten, give with a cheerful eye. For the Most High recompenseth, and will give thee 7 times as much. Whatever you give is coming back. Most High is going to give whatever you give back. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5. That's why you have to be thankful and requiteth yourself to do right. Matthew 5 and 7. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see the Most High. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of the Most High. See that? Peacemakers. Most High dealing with peacemakers. Be a peacemaker. Be sincere. Be merciful to your brethren and sisters. We should all be able to experience this joy of the Most High through his son Yahushua, who showed us how to be meek. This is what we have to do. Look at verse 5. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness. Don't y'all want to experience what blessings come with seeking after righteousness? I know I do. Go to Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter 8. And let's start at verse Romans 8, verse 11. But if the spirit of him that raised up Yahushua from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Yahushua from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his Spirit that dwelleth in you. All right, so the Spirit of him who is the him. So the Spirit of him, who's the him? The Father. Verse 13. Therefore, brethren, we are debtors not to the flesh, to live after the flesh. For if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live. What are the deeds? What are the deeds of the body? Deeds are accomplishments, achievements, attainments, triumphs, to triumph over something. Action, it's a performance, it's a work, it's a form of measurement, to measure yourself, right? It's a procedure. So what procedure? What procedure? So what procedure? So what procedure did you follow? What work did you do? What action did you take? What performance did you do to attain such an achievement? These are deeds. You had to do something. You had to follow something in order to have a deed, an accomplishment. You had to do something. What is that something? Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. See that? That's the deed. You got to fear the Most High. You got to know right from wrong. Keep his commandments. So the commandments aren't ever going anywhere. You always got to keep the commandments. For the Most High shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. See that? Somebody's watching. Somebody's always checking you out. You notice that? Wherever you go, someone's looking out of a window. Someone's driving by you. Somebody's watching. Is that a form of paranoia? No, I'm just telling you. Somebody's watching. Matthew chapter 18, verse 10. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father, which is in heaven. So you may think you're getting away with something, but trust me, you ain't getting away. You can best believe that. That goes for the Jew and the Gentile. You ain't getting away with nothing. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 7. Deuteronomy 7 and 5. Deuteronomy 7 and 5. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy the altars, break down their images, and cut down their groves, and burn their graven images with fire. For thou art an holy people unto the Most High thy power. The Most High thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above what? All people that are upon the face of the earth. So the kingdom of heaven has citizenship for his people first, the 12 tribes of Israel, and then the Gentiles. Are you ready for the kingdom to come? The Israelites are to be a light to the world. So that means what? Fairness, honesty, even to our enemies, the other nations. Even if we supply anger, we follow it with repentance. But you're going to get angry. It's just normal. You can't say that anyone don't get angry. Everyone gets angry. But you got to follow it with repentance. Let's go to Romans chapter 12. I mean, even Yahushua got mad. He got angry. Everybody got angry. That's just part of our emotion. That's the spirit on us. There's a righteous anger and there's a wicked anger. Romans 12 and 18. Romans 12 verse 18. It reads, if it is possible, as much as lieth in you, right? If possible, live peaceably with all men. If possible. Can you do that? As much anger as you got in you, can you live peaceably with all men? I knew a brother like that. Couldn't live peaceably with all men. You see another nation and he just went ballistic. He couldn't stand them because he remembered the oppression that was brought on our people from reading history books. And he wouldn't forget it. You ain't supposed to forget, but the scriptures tell you to be peaceable with all men. Verse 19, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath. For it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Most High. Therefore, if thine enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing, thou shalt heap coals of fire on his head. See that? So even our enemies, we got to take care of them. We are the highest quality of citizens on the earth. We are prudent men and women. Verse 21, be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with what? Good. It's tough, but it's what we have to do. So, a lot of us, we know who our enemies are, which is pursuant to Psalms 83 and 6, but we are to behave better than them, being the children of light. Listen, write the information down, like I said, so you won't forget it. While on this earth, try to establish meaningful relationships with people. Don't isolate yourself. It defeats the purpose of righteousness. Or should I say love? When you die and leave this earth, someone should miss you and what you brought to this world. It's a form of charity. I've been to a funeral before, and it was a family member. The brother lived to be a good old age, but no one got up to say a word about him. I said, was he that big of a wretched individual that no one didn't want to get up to say not a word? No one. You gotta think about it. Didn't Yahushua feed the 5,000? Did he not heal the sick? He even showed off a little bit by walking on water. He did that. I did a class or a video not long ago about chariots crashing. And if you read the book called Behold a Pale Horse by William Cooper, he talks about a chariot crashing and that they were able to gather all the pieces and parts. He's part of this team to go gather the pieces and parts. But there's nowhere in the scriptures where a chariot has ever crashed. Chariots show out. Chariots be skidding on the ground and going back up in the sky just like that. Skirting the earth. Might leave something behind, clue or something.
In this part of Lincolnshire, the skyline is dotted with huge wind turbines, but today one of them isn't turning. People who live nearby say that it was hit by a UFO. Residents remember being woken in the early hours of Sunday morning by a huge crash. When the sun came up, one of the turbines was bent and broken. That came after several witnesses reported glowing spheres in the sky earlier the same night.
I just suddenly saw this light appear in front of us, and it just seemed to whiz sort of across the sky towards the wind turbines. I said, there was 2 or 3 of us in the car, and I just said to the other 2, what was that?
The huge structures are built to withstand extreme conditions. Locals believe something collided with this one that its makers weren't prepared for. Indeed, the company which owns the turbines, Ecotricity, hasn't yet been able to work out what caused the damage. Here's Dale Vincent, the founder of the company.
Our people were there on Sunday. We had the manufacturer's team there the next day, and they've been crawling all over it and the turbine, looking at the damaged parts. And we've shipped some parts off for some forensic testing to determine better, if we can, what the probable cause was. At the moment, we're left with no kind of firm favour as to what has happened.
One suggestion is that ice caused one of the blades to snap off, but despite searches of the area, that third blade is nowhere to be seen. And with official channels baffled, locals are drawing their own conclusions about what caused the mystery turbine mangling.
But, you know, the Most High made things perfect. That's in the celestial realm. Esau may think that they're crashing, but they're not. All right, so I got this insert from a book called Military UFOs. And this is a captain who thought that this was an actual military plane, and it wasn't. So I'm going to read. It says, the mystery of the ghost rockets. An American C-54 transport plane was 7,000 feet over the French countryside on its way to Paris. Some 3,000 feet below the plane was a layer of broken clouds. But above that, the sky was clear. It was 11 o'clock at night on January 18, 1946. The flight was uneventful until suddenly the pilot of the C-54 saw a brilliant shooting star appear 35 degrees above the horizon. The shooting star streaked downward without exploding. The brilliant blob dropped below the eastern horizon, and then, much to the pilot's surprise, the shooting star quickly reappeared. So a lot of y'all think that these chariots or UFOs or these shooting stars are actually shooting stars in their chariots. They're hitting the ground and coming right back up. The shooting star came back into view and described a tiny hyperbola of perhaps of 1 degree altitude and fell again from sight. So they be playing around up there, showing out these UFOs. And the debris that these people are finding are things that they ran into. You know, it's not the UFO itself, it's spiritual. So it says, 1, those were the words of the pilot who felt that the shooting star did the impossible by ricocheting or rebounding. See that? This event marked the beginning of numerous sightings of strange phenomena in the skies of Europe. The Mystery of the Ghost Rockets. That's a book. So check it out. Very interesting book. Dealing with the military and UFO phenomena. So the Most High gave Israel a sort of, when you see stuff like that, the Most High also gave Israel sort of a flashiness. You can't resist. It's normal. You look at some of our athletes, how flashy they are. Some of our dancers, our singers. They walk in a room and their spirit is bigger than life. The way they dress. You look at MC Hammer and the Yin Yang Twins. They're just flashy and crazy looking even. George Clinton. Even the Most High shows off from time to time with storms and earthquakes, pestilences. Look at these leaders on earth. He shows off with these leaders. Look at Trump cutting up. He shows off with these leaders. There's a time and place for everything. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up that which is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, that's people, you're casting away people, and a time to gather stones, you're gathering people together, time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. That's that COVID-19. We refraining from each other. But just think about something. Think about your life. Think about the things you have done before coming into this truth, or while you're even in this truth. And you should say to yourself, have you ever even thought about the things that you have done? Have you broken promises? Have you made promises to anyone and have not kept them? You know, make amends through Yahweh Shai to the Father for forgiveness. That's your way in. As long as you live, it's never too late. Let's drop down to verse 11. Ecclesiastes 3 and 11. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he hath set the world in their heart. Who's the world? Israel. So that no man can find out the work that the Most High maketh from the beginning to the end. The Most High set that up in Israel. That's why you have to ask yourself, what is good? Look at this. I know that there is no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life, that's the good. Keeping the commandments. That's the whole duty of man. The Father is good. His word is good. You know, it should tell you that his word is pure. Proverbs chapter 30 and 5. He's pure. Ecclesiastes 3 and 13. And also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It is the gift of the Most High. Right? Most High said you should eat and drink and enjoy things. You shouldn't always be mad at this and mad at that for no reason. The Most High don't want that. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 9. And listen to what he says. He says, live joyfully with thy wife. Wife, one, whom thou lovest, all the days of the life of thy vanity, which he hath given thee under the sun, all the days of thy vanity, for that is thy portion in this life, and in thy labor, which thou takest under the sun. See that? Let's go back. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 13. And also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. See that? Enjoy your wife. Enjoy your family, your children. Right? It is the gift of the Most High. Living on this earth right now, remember the Most High is dealing with the living. The times that you have with your family, enjoy it. Verse 14. I know that whatsoever the Most High doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And the Most High doeth it, that men should fear before him. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. And the Most High requireth that which is past. Most High requireth that which is past. You know, if he says something is forever, trust me, it's forever. The Sabbath day is something that will never be removed. The fourth commandment out of the 10. One of the main ways of removing the curse that the Israelites are under is to worship him on the Sabbath day. Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. Yeah, that's one of the biggest reasons for our captivity. Not keeping one of the commandments, let alone the 613 laws, which are a part of the 10. You know, this is one of the biggest truths in the world is the Sabbaths. Our people can search for the truth, but if they don't know where and what the truth is, how are they going to find it? What is the truth? If you search for the truth, you have to understand the truth is dealing with facts. And what facts is dealing with the facts of the Bible? What is a fact? Give me a main fact of the Bible. One of the main facts of the Bible is the Most High Yahweh. Why Yahweh Shai created the earth and stands alone as the one and only power. Another fact, the Most High in his tabernacle dwells with the 12 tribes of Israel. That's a fact. It's another fact. We all are to keep his commandments as earth beings. That's a fact. All of us are supposed to keep his commandments. That's a fact. It's another fact. There's facts throughout the scriptures. When we don't follow the guidelines, we're all doomed as beasts. Most High calls us beasts if we don't keep the commandments. Adam was a beast. That's why he got kicked out of the garden. He was the worst beast. Eve too. Noah was a good man, and the Most High saved him from the beast, which were the other generations of men. Look at Ecclesiastes 3, verse 18. I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that the Most High might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are what? Beasts. For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts. Even one thing befalleth them, as the one dieth, so dieth the other. Yea, they have all one breath, so that a man have no preeminence above a beast. For all is vanity. All go into one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. See that? We all go to the same place. But what makes the difference? Us knowing who Yahushua is. Before Ezra was taken up by the Father, this was his plea for those who kept not the law. Let's go to 2nd Ezra in that apocrypha. Listen to his plea. Because there was a lot of people not keeping the law during those times of the temple being rebuilt. A lot of people didn't know the law. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 8. And let's start at verse 19. 2nd Ezra 8:19, and it reads, Therefore hear my voice and understand my words, and I shall speak before you. This is the beginning of the words of Ezra before he was taken up. Where was he taken up? To the spirit world. Most I showed him things that Moses saw, that Adam saw, showed him the beginning of times and the end of times. Drop down to verse 26, and it reads, O look not upon the sins of thy people, but on them which serve thee in truth, in facts. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies in affliction. So we're going to be afflicted with all these inventions that you see going on. Cash App, credit problems. You're going to see PayPal. Those are inventions that afflict you. Everything is going away from the dollars and going into these different systems. System of the beast. Verse 28. Think not upon those that have walked vainly before you, but remember them which according to thy will have known thy fear. Let it not be thy will to destroy them which have lived like beasts. So Israel was also living like beasts. They didn't know the commandments. They didn't know what they were supposed to do year to year. It reads, but to look upon them that have clearly taught thy law. What are you supposed to be doing? Teaching his law. Take thou no indignation at them which are deemed worse than beasts, but love them that always put their trust in the righteousness and glory. For we and our fathers do languish of such diseases. But because of us sinners, thou shalt be called merciful. For if thou hast a desire to have mercy upon us, thou shalt be called merciful to us, namely, that have no works of righteousness. So we got to be merciful so we can receive mercy back, like Yahushua said on the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Verse 33, for the just which have many good works laid up with thee shall out of their own deeds receive rewards. For what is man that thou shouldst take displeasure? For what is man that thou shouldst take displeasure at him? Or what is a corruptible generation that thou shouldest be so bitter toward it? For in truth there is no man among them that be born, but he have dealt wickedly. All have done wickedly. And among the faithful there is none which have not done amiss. For in this, O power, thy righteousness and thy goodness shall be declared. If thou be merciful unto them which have not the confidence of good works. Then answered he me and said, some things hast thou spoken aright, and according unto thy words it shall be. So here's Ezra talking to the Most High, and the Most High is going to answer Ezra's back. But first, let's read 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and 17. This is our salvation right here. This is how we receive the mercy, by being like Yahushua. 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. We're going to read down to verse 21. It reads, therefore, if any man be in Hamashiach, he is a what? A new creature, not a beast, a new creature. Because the Most High calls it, calls it new creature, calls it beast. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. And all things are of the Most High, who have reconciled us to himself by Yahushua HaMashiach, and have given to us the ministry of reconciliation. We got give back. We didn't have give back before, but now we have give back to get into the kingdom. To which that the Most High was in Hamashiach reconciling the world unto himself, not imputing their trespasses unto them, and have committed unto us the word of reconciliation. We can get back. Now, when we were ambassadors for Hamashiach, as though the Most High did beseech you by us, we pray you in Hamashiach stead, that be ye reconciled to the Most High. For he hath made him to be sin for us, who knew no sin, that we might be made the righteousness of the Most High in him. So we got to go through Yahushua just to have an opportunity to get back into the kingdom. So if you don't repent, what's going to happen? You don't have no get back. And you have to do it through Hamashiach. Now let's listen to the Most High speaking to Ezra through this angel. 2 Ezra chapter 8, verse 37. 2 Ezra in the Apocrypha, chapter 8, verse 37. And let's read to verse 41. Then answered he me and said, some things hast thou spoken aright, and according unto thy words it shall be. For indeed I will not think on the disposition of them which have sinned before death, before judgment, before destruction. Let's read that again. This is the angel talking to Ezra. For indeed I will not think of the disposition of them which have sinned before death, judgment, destruction. But I rejoice over the disposition of the righteous. See that? And I will remember also their pilgrimage and the salvation and the reward that they shall have. Like as I have spoken now, so shall it come to pass. For as the husbandman soweth much seed upon the ground and planteth many trees, and yet the thing that is sown good in his season cometh not up, neither doth all that is planted take root. Even so is it of them that are sown in the world. They shall not all be saved. See that? So here's this angel saying they ain't all going to be saved. You got to keep these commandments, these laws, statutes, so you at least have a fighting chance to get into the kingdom. You have to exemplify mercy, faith, grace. You have to exemplify that so you can get it back. Look at verse 55. And therefore ask thou no more questions concerning the multitude of them that perish. This is the Most High. He said, don't even ask. When they had taken liberty, they despised the Most High. That scorn of his what? of his law, and forsook his ways. A lot of our people don't understand laws, statutes, and commandments. They just say, oh, we ain't got to keep it. But they're all broken down. You know, most countries are broken down the same way with commandments, statutes, and laws, ordinances, and so forth. When people vote every year, guess what they're voting on? Ordinances. Within their own community, they're voting on the ordinances. Potholes in the ground, that's an ordinance. Get it fixed. The buses ain't running, that's an ordinance. Get it fixed. Those are ordinances. If you don't deal with the ordinances in your communities, and the statutory laws aren't governed to fix those things, then what's going to happen within your own little cities and communities? They're going to fall apart, break apart. There's going to be no order within the community other than the statutory laws. So what we're going through today, with those being gone, is a blessing in disguise, because ain't no way we could have made it without someone like Yahushua. No way. Our high priests wouldn't have did. They would have been consumed by all this wickedness in this land if we had priests. And so would the people. Let's start 57. Moreover, they have trodden down his righteous, and said in their heart that there is no power, yea, and that knowing they must die, for as the things aforesaid shall receive you, so thirst and pain are prepared for them. For it was not his will that men should come to naught. The Most High never wanted men to perish. But they which be created have defiled the name of him that made them, and were unthankful unto him, which prepared life for them. And therefore is my judgment now at hand. See that? Most High is bringing judgment soon. So that's why I say, be honest in this truth, be sincere in this truth, so you can receive a blessing in this life and in the next. Because that's what it's all about, you know, helping your brethren, depending on your life through the Most High Yahweh and the Son of Mashiach Yahushua.
This is the word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone, and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.